happy January 9th, everybody. This week's episode, Maz Jobrani, Sam Tripoli. As always, go to BertCast.com, get a Cogs of the Machine shirt, a Machine shirt, tour dates.
This is the Bertcast.
Although I saw you at the airport going, someone's been telling me my thing doesn't sound right.
Yeah, that's all people say is the fucking sound sucks on your show. All right, we're recording. We're in here with Maz.
I'm impressed, dude. This is
man
the
cave's
best studio I've ever been in.
This man cave's the best thing that ever happened to me. It's Bert Kreischer got canceled like the day after I got this man cave, and I was like, I'm cool.
Wait, why'd they cancel it?
It wasn't doing that good.
Oh.
And they had like it was,
How many seasons?
That's your
We
new
did
show
two.
or your
No,
old show?
It's my old show.
What's your new show?
Trip Flip.
That's
Yeah.
so great.
Trip Flip's doing great, but they just wasn't doing that well. But they didn't cancel it technically. They put it on hiatus, and then they called me and told me. But I was like, I'd gotten this man cave from them, and they'd given me such a great
When you say you got in this man cave, you mean that this had helped you? That this has helped you?
Would you build this?
I went. So that's fine. So the company that owns Travel Channel is a company named Scripps. They own DIY also. So every year we do upfronts. It's totally different than the other upfronts, but we go around and all the people from DIY, HGTV, food, cooking, like Guy Ferrari or whatever his name is,
Yeah.
like those types of guys, Rachel Ray, all the DIY guys, all the HGTV
Do the
guys.
cook people party?
What?
Do the cook people party?
Yeah.
Of course.
Not like the DIY dudes. The DIY dudes.
What's DIY stand for?
Do it yourself.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's cool as shit.
So I go to DIY Networks. I go right up to them. The guy that was running DIY is a guy named Andy Singer. He's now running Travel Channel. And by the time he was running, and he was with some of the DIY hosts, and I walked right up to him and I was like, I want a man cave. Because they have a show called Man Caves. And he goes, Tony Sergos, Jason Cameron. I think he was with Jason. He goes, we can do that. And I said, I want a man cave bad. And he goes, why don't we do that? Why don't we do a crossover? We'll have the Man Caves guys do an episode of Bert the Conqueror, and they'll do your man cave. And he goes, but I went to Florida, and I went to Florida State. And he goes, so if I do it, I'm going to put gator shit all in your fucking man cave.
Hilarious.
And so there's 3 gator heads at the front of my man cave.
That's hilarious.
Hilarious. So wait, so this was just a garage?
This was a woodworking shop attached to our garage. Our garage is next door. They closed off the entrance, opened up this wall to the backyard, put like 1,700 square feet of pavers in it, 2 flat screens. That's a TV too. That map.
What?
That map goes up.
What is this? Some I Spy shit?
Yeah. This.
Wait a minute. Now, well, first of all, why do you need 2 TVs? That's
I don't
the first
know.
question.
No, why wouldn't you need 2 TVs? We need a 3rd TV.
This is this thing.
Is that so you have like the stock ticker going while you're over here watching the football game?
Exactly. No, sadly they can't even go to different channels. They have to be the same channel.
Hilarious.
But you can watch the TV out on that couch.
So
out there.
here's my question to you: Do they come out? Do they get this thing permitted, or do they just do it?
They do it. They get it permitted. Everything.
That's so
That's
awesome.
the best part because you could do that. I was talking to Madrigal about this. He wants one, and he was like, "I'm going to just do it." But the hardest thing is to get permits in LA. That's
I have the back. I think
Yeah, you have a
Triplets in
man
it.
cave kind of
It's-
too.
It's kind of a man cave that I don't use it, so it became like a storage space again. And but we had someone come out. She did a really good job, but we didn't permit it.
Yours is more of a dojo.
It is more of a dojo.
Yeah.
But it's like a yoga room. But the problem is then when you go to get your house appraised, they're like, we can't include that in there because, basically that means if someone's going to come by your house, let's say whatever, just for round numbers, let's say that they would say like, let's say your house were $500,000, right? Yeah. And if they're going to come by your house and you're like, well, I got this back thing, that's worth another $50,000 to $100,000.
Right.
Yeah.
The bank will not add to their loan to this person to pay for the extra in the back. So basically the person themselves kind of has to have money to be able to go, I don't care about...
Wouldn't that be weird if you sold your house but you still owned
That's
the man
funny.
cave in the back?
That seems like
You're like, dude, Bert keeps coming back here. Hey, I'm sorry.
that's
I
part
just
of the
chilled
deal.
out
Is
my
that
man.
that's the only thing. This house sucks, but we're not going to get rid of it ever because I love this fucking man cave.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you actually do watch stuff back here?
Oh, dude, Game of Thrones. on Sunday nights, I light up both TVs, put the surround sound, and that awesome medieval just fantasy surround sound. There's speakers everywhere, right?
What about does your wife watch it with you? Or you just come in here alone?
I come in here alone, and I take the couch and I angle it so I can see both TVs. And
Hilarious.
The best is when the TVs are 3D. I gave the girls an anxiety attack one time. I put the 3D glasses on them, set them up so they're just getting bukkakied by 3D left and right. My daughters are like, "It's too much, Daddy."
That's great to talk about bukkakis and your daughters. Hey, do you have sensors here so you know if the woman's coming out in case you're looking at some crazy stuff?
No. She's
Like when Game of Thrones is done, Thrones. Game of Thrones.
We're not talking about Jesus here.
That's a different.
Game of Thrones.
That's a whole other. That's a totally different show.
This one about
When
Jesus.
Game
I
of
love
Thrones.
it.
When Game of Thrones is done, like, do you? Because now, like, your wife's inside. Is she waiting for you to finish, or
No.
So you're sitting here. You're like, okay, I've seen that. I watched a little bit of ESPN, and then at one point, do you like say, I'll just turn on some porn and.
No, you can't. That's the hardest part about this man cave is you can't do anything illicit because there's huge freaking windows.
Oh, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like a big glass house.
Yeah, you gotta make sure. That's the hard thing about jerking off at all, because you got kids in the house. I don't think I've.
Can I get into that real quick?
Yeah,
about
please.
Like, all these celebrities are getting busted jerking off in adult bookstores.
Who?
Have you seen this? Like
No.
Fred Willard got
Fred
busted.
Willard,
on
right.
TV.
Yeah.
And then this kid who was just in like Terminator 3, and he was in a Carnival that was on HBO. I don't know if you remember
Is he a
that.
young guy?
Yeah,
Who
he's
does
about
that?
our age,
And
maybe
he was
a
in a
little
bookstore.
younger.
I didn't even know the bookstore still existed.
But the
until I
reason
heard
they're
Fred
there
Willard.
is because
Wait. Real bookstores are going out of business. How are adult bookstores?
because dudes are
Barnes and Noble's having a hard time staying afloat, and fucking an adult bookstore is still.
Because, dude, like, it's because you go there, the big dudes are beating off there, and it's just like, it's because
Maybe they
you can't
just
get away from your woman. That's
well,
what it is.
Maybe
Just looking for a little spot.
No, maybe it's like maybe there must be some sort of like maybe that's like you go there and the guy like sells weed. Maybe it's like a drug front as well. There's got to be some.
It's got to be guys. It's got to be gay.
Dude, have you guys
It's got to be a hot spot.
Have you ever
a
been
beacon
on
for homosexual activity?
But still,
Santa Monica and Highland?
yeah.
Where, like, it has that, like, super ratio of, like, tranny hookers to donut shops.
Yeah.
Like, there's this insane ratio. Find a donut shop, you'll find tranny hookers. It's
does
weird.
have-
That's hilarious.
I never noticed that.
Yeah,
until
it's
now.
really weird, man.
Who would
But
have thought?
yeah, there's all that.
Gives Krispy Kreme a whole different meaning.
Yeah,
huh?
they love cream pies, I guess.
I've never masturbated anywhere other than extremely private places.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Do you guys know Mike Burton?
No.
Yes.
Oh my God! This is my
Do
favorite.
you know how
story.
to get a hold of him?
No, I
I'm
don't.
trying to find him for Krav Maga. Go on with your story.
He teaches Krav Maga. I saw him in a video randomly.
He's a comedian.
Yeah, he's a comedian. He's got the funniest stories ever. I went out to had lunch with Henry Phillips one weekend.
Uh-huh.
We were both in the same city at the same time, and he told me the story. And this is my favorite fucking story. So he gets a new apartment. He's got a beautiful apartment. I apologize, Mike, if you're upset that I'm telling this story, but I know you're not because that's the kind of guy Mike is. So he gets this beautiful apartment, like really nice because it's in Hollywood, and it's the building next to it's 4 stories, and he's on the 5th floor, so he has an unadulterated view of the Hollywood Hills. It's absolutely gorgeous. So he gets in his place, no furniture, no like it's just empty. All he's got is a phone. So he calls his chick. And they talk on the phone, and he hangs up, and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna just beat off." So he just starts beating off, just in his empty apartment by himself, just sitting on the ground, just jacking off, looking just with the view of the Hollywood Hills.
That's
just
very
by himself.
pristine. That's very like old school.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's like
Yeah.
I don't need anything. I don't need furniture.
Yeah, that's
I don't need
caveman
TV.
jerking
That's
off.
caveman jerking right there. All he had is a phone.
So yeah, with no entertainment, that's the only thing he can think to do. So he jerks off. As soon as he blows his load, he hears 100 people go, "Ooh!" They're having a rooftop party.
Oh no!
Building next door.
No.
And he had to do a marine crawl into the kitchen. Like, oh, son of a bitch.
Oh, no.
Henry Phillips told me that story at at lunch, and I laughed so hard
That's
they asked us
hilarious.
to fucking leave. I could not stop laughing.
That is hilarious.
And he just moved in.
But what point are you marine crawl? You own that shit at that point.
Yeah, you
Stand
should.
up.
Yeah.
Are you not entertained?
Yeah. Welcome to the neighborhood. I'm your new neighbor. You got some sugar?
He's Mike Burton has the funniest fucking stories. He one time gets a call from Vegas, and they're like, "Hey, we need you to open. We have a big act, and the opener canceled. It's like $5,000, but can you drive here now? Can you be here in like 4 hours?" He's like, "Done." They're like, "Bring a nice suit." So he brings a nice
Wait till
suit.
I come.
He gets there, and he's opening for Michael Bolton. So he gets there, and they go, "Listen, Mr. Bolton's running a little late. Do you think you can do like an extra 10 minutes?" He goes, "Not a problem." So they go, "All right, stand behind the curtain." So the place is packed. He looks out the curtains, it's fucking packed, like 5,000 people, all at dinner tables, all at cocktails. He's made it. In his head, he's like, "This is what I've worked my whole life for. I've made it." House lights drop, and he hears, "Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Michael Burton." Everyone thinks they say it's Bolton.
Oh,
Curtains
no.
open, and everyone's like, "Oh, he cut his hair."
No.
Look like him. And then he starts doing jokes, and they're like, "Wait, Michael Bolton's doing
That is
jokes?"
hilarious.
Hilarious.
He fucking Mike.
I wonder
love Mike
if
Burton.
wait, is he the guy that like hung out at the Laugh Factory a little bit? Is that no? That's a different guy.
He's a brunette dude, really
Young
nice
guy, younger guy.
He's our age.
I
he's
wonder.
our
I
age.
wonder if the person who booked him for that was like some guy who was like, you know what, this will be hilarious.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
They probably because I'm thinking to myself, what was he the right kind of comic for Michael Bolton?
He is because he's clean.
Oh.
He's got the funniest stories in the world. He's got hands down the best stories, but he never told them on stage. Like,
But I just wonder if there was some booker who was like, "Who do you got?" And they're like, "I got Sam Tripoli, I got Bert Kreischer, I got Maz Jobrani, I got Michael Burton." He's like, "Stop."
that's the one.
It's like I don't care what his material is. That's the one.
He does USO tours now.
Oh, that's
he
hilarious.
He books.
Yeah.
He does a lot of USO tours, and he was good friends with Gary Valentine. That's how I got to know him.
Oh, yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
good friends with Gary.
That is funny, man.
Yeah, he's one of the funniest.
Yeah, masturbation stuff you were talking about. It's funny when we were trying to have our first kid. My wife and I, like, I don't know if you went through all this stuff, but like before we had the kid, it was like it felt like you could get pregnant, no problem. Once you decide to have the kid, then like you got to start timing it and all this stuff. And at one point we were trying for a while, it wasn't happening. So my wife's like, "All right, let's go get tested." So she got tested, and they were like, "You're fine." Then I got tested, so I went to get tested for
That's gotta be rough.
Well, here, this is what it is for like the sperm thing. I went to get. It was funny because going into it, I'm like,
As I'm crushing my nuts right now.
I'm like, you know what? I was like, this is like, I thought it was like in the movies, like the guy shows up. It's this like place where they'll give you like DVDs and porn magazines, and like you go in that room and you masturbate.
Yeah.
And I was so excited. I was like, this is gonna be sanctioned for the first time in my
Sanctioned
life.
masturbation.
For the first time in my life, someone is telling
There's going to
me
be a controlled.
yeah. Someone's encouraging me to go in there and masturbate. I was like, this is awesome. Like, for the first time in my life, I felt like this was like society.
Because like you've been practicing your whole life
Yeah.
for this moment.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted some nurse, probably like a cute nurse, to be like, here, you go in there and do what you got to do. So I was so excited about it, and I showed up at this place. It was in Beverly Hills. Because they go the test center. It's like this place called like Q West or Q Quest or I forget what it's called. But they're like, it's in Beverly Hills. I was like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. So I show up, and it's like a counter. It's like, remember when you used to go to turn in your film for photographs?
Yeah.
And there was just a counter, and you would give it to the guy, and he'd be like, all right, come back in a couple days. It'll be ready. It was basically that. Like, it was just like a counter. It was just this counter and like this lady sitting behind it. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, well, where is the space? So as I walk in, I'm like, hey, what's going on? She's like, hi. I go, I'm here to do this test. And she goes, okay. She goes, here is she gives me a cup. She goes, here's a cup, like a pee test cup.
Yeah.
Here's a cup. Here's a plastic bag. When you're done, you put it in the plastic bag. Here's a paper bag. You put the plastic bag into the paper bag. I go, great. So where do I do this? She goes, you're going to walk outside. You're going to go next door to the office building. You're going to go to the first floor and use their bathroom. I'm like, excuse me?
What?
She's like,
They
yeah.
sent you that
They
far?
sent you to a fucking neighbor's.
She sent me to like an when you go to an office and you're like, hey, I gotta use a bathroom. Like, here's a key for the office. You know, like it was
She
one of
sent
those.
you to another building.
Yeah, like the next door building that was like, and with like a nice bathroom, like where like people that are there doing whatever law offices and you know what I'm saying, like that kind of bathroom.
Imagine being at the law office.
With no materials, by the way.
Wait,
nothing.
And you got to walk out with a cup of your
I gotta
own
walk
seed.
out.
Imagine if you're working at the law office and you got to take a whiz. And you're like, hurry up in there. And this guy's like, give me
Shut
2
up.
Hold on, they've told me to masturbate.
Are you fucking kidding
Dude, it was
me?
horrible. I went into this bathroom. I'm not kidding. I go in this bathroom. It's like I have to go into the stall. I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing this right now. I'm sitting there playing with myself. There's no materials, nothing. All I hear is people walking by the bathroom, like talking, like, "Hey, George, you know, is that report going to be done by 5 o'clock?" I'm like,
that's the least sexy place ever.
you don't even know, dude. I kept. It took me a long time. Finally done. Come downstairs. And I give it to her, and then she's like, "Oh, this isn't enough." And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "When was the last time you had sex?" I was like, "Last night." She's like, "You're not supposed to have sex for like a week."
Why would you do
Are you
that?
serious?
I didn't know you're not supposed to have sex, like, but for it was my, they didn't tell you. It was really bad. And,
Aren't you supposed to go like a week without it?
Give me 2
something like
seconds.
that.
I got to get headsets. I'm looking at the levels, and they look through the fucking roof. Hold on 1 second. Keep talking.
Okay,
I'll be right back.
so
That is hilarious.
hilarious, right?
You think they would set up a whole place like it would be like some bad
Well, you would think there would be
strip
like
bar thing?
Yeah,
Like
you
I went
would-
to this.
maybe there's a
Go to
market
strip
for
bars
it.
anymore?
I was never a big strip club guy in the first place.
Man, some of the strip bars in the valley are seedy, dude. My friend invited me to where she danced one time.
Yeah.
It is just, it's really uncomfortable when you walk in.
So when you go and you see a friend of yours doing it, is it like going to a stand-up show where like, oh, I want to support her, make sure, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like you want to laugh at
Yeah.
the right moments,
Yeah.
you know? She's like, this isn't a comedy show. You're like, oh yeah, you're clapping.
Good job.
Yeah,
Great set. Really
great
good.
set. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Like
It's-
what is the shift for a stripper?
I'm back.
Well, you know what they do? They do nighttime. It's a weird. I've had friends.
No, but
who
what
are
I'm saying is, like, for
strip
example,
bar-
let's say you got a gig. Like you and I, we know when we have a gig. Like,
Yeah.
okay, so you have a 20-minute set at the Laugh Factory or at the Comedy Store, right? And you might have 2 sets, 2 places. Or if you're headlining somewhere, you know you're going to be doing an hour. So stripper, they say what? Show up at 10. You're going to be leaving at 2, or you're going to be leaving
it'll
at
like
4.
a 10 to 2.
10
or
to 2.
A 9 to 2. And then, like, they're just like comedians, man. These girls who are, like, big names will tour, and they'll be, like
Oh, you talking about Tara Patrick?
all of them. Like, we're talking, like, because I was talking about,
How seedy clubs are.
yeah, because I had a friend of mine who's a stripper, and she invited me down to where a club was just to check it out. And it was just, like, deep in the valley, and it was, like, really uncomfortable.
Who's the blonde-haired girl? I just watched this thing on The Business of Porn. This blonde-haired chick, Jessie Jane.
Yeah.
And I'd never felt more of a connection with an entertainer because I was like, I go through that same shit. I feel
Yeah.
like I do TV so that I can raise my club rates.
100%.
And it's the exact same business model.
That's what they do. See, porn now has gotten like that. You basically do a porno, and then you tour
To support the porn.
Yeah, no,
To support the porn or just...
the porn
The live
supports
money.
the tour. It's almost like you
It's
doing
just like,
Letterman.
just like TV. So I'm doing Travel Channel. My whole goal is so that people go, oh, that's the guy. And when
Yeah.
they come see me live, it's
Yeah.
the same fucking thing.
It's
the
the
live
exact
money.
same thing.
Okay, here's my question. Not to change subjects at all.
But
but like,
believe me, you aren't.
But how is it possible? How did you get famous in Arab? In Arab, that's the wrong
In
word.
Arab?
In
Arab town.
Arab town. In Arab town. How did you get famous in the
Arabia.
Middle East? Like, how did you get famous in the Middle East?
YouTube, right? YouTube is like their television.
I did
to a
porn.
point.
I did porn.
And then that no, you know what it was. This I mean, I just want to one question before I get to that. I had one question for Tripoli because I'm trying to understand what I'm trying to understand before we get to the whole Middle East thing is the shift for a stripper.
Yes.
So they go like 10 to 2, for example. Let's say.
Right.
So if you're a stripper, you're going to be 10 to 2.
Right.
Did your friend ever explain to you like, okay, so when she shows up at 10 o'clock,
Yeah.
they'll be like, all right. Look, you're going to start on the floor. You're going to do 10 minutes on the floor, then 10 minutes on the stage, then 10 minutes on the. Do they rotate like? Is there
Yep.
a headliner kind of a
Yep.
thing?
Wait, there's
There
a
is
headliner?
Yeah. There'll be like a girl, like let's say someone like a Belladonna, who's like this kind of cult figure.
Yeah.
She'll show up at a strip bar, and they'll have a couple girl goes up, and then she does an act. And then she could sit in the side. She could sign autographs. She's available for private lap dances. It's not
and what is it?
stand-up,
And what
but
is it like?
stand-up.
Is it like 3 songs, 2 songs? Like, do they like? I mean, is it a 20-minute gig?
I think girls do 2 songs now.
Okay, I was a stripper for a day.
Yes,
for this
me too.
For Hurt Bert show, I was so fucking winded. Dancing
they're
for
in
one
great
song.
shape.
Dancing for one song for an audience is exhausting. I can't even do the dance games on the Wii. So it's so crazy.
Oh, they're in great
and they're
shape.
doing it in
I'd
high
be
heels.
sweating profusely. Like in between songs, I wouldn't be going to get lap
all you
dance.
got to do is be at a strip club and see one of those strippers like go up the pole with the leg and then like come down and go up and like start bouncing up and down.
No, it's
with
about
I'm
to be
like,
an Olympic sport. It really is. They're about to make it an Olympic sport. I mean, there's a whole group of pole dancing that's trying to separate itself from
Oh,
porn and
Jamaica's gonna
stripping.
fucking own that if it's an Olympic sport.
What's that?
Jamaican strippers are amazing.
Dude, I think there's going to be a lot. It's going to be a battle, dude. You got the Czechs, you got the Brazilians, you got the
Brazilian.
Americans, you got the Jamaicans. Never mind the Japanese. Look what they do in gymnastics. Imagine what they're going to do on a pole.
God,
wow,
Then they have 2 chicks on a pole. It's called bipolar.
hilarious.
Have you ever typed in dubstep contests in Jamaica?
No, I'm sure it's
The
amazing.
hottest women dancing, the most sensual, just like booty shaking.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
they're
yeah.
and they're like soaking wet with sweat, flinging their hair around, and it's just hundreds and hundreds of hot, sweaty Jamaicans. Just
Well, that's like that Brazilian dance. Like sometimes when I watch, like when you see like samba dancing or whatever, you're like, there's an extra muscle or two in that ass that I don't know how it where it came from. Like with the movement.
Oh, you mean when they do ass volcano?
When they do like it's like
where
an
they make the
earthquake
house-
on the ass.
It is. Well, yeah, dude. They're built like that, and they
assquake.
worked it out. I stripped for one day at after college. I got a job
seriously?
at Deja Vu as a joke. Well, no, I was working the door there,
yeah.
and one day and Sunday, there was like 20 guys in the room, and they were all being assholes, and nobody wanted to get danced. Girls were complaining, so I'm like, put me and this guy Malik, the big black bouncer, put us up on stage. He went up as Chocolate Thunder. I went up as Maverick.
Hilarious.
And we danced. And we did 2 songs.
Did you
we
get
made
naked?
like $60 each.
Did you get naked?
No, I got down to my underwear, dude.
Hilarious.
And it was I was doing pole work. It was just hilarious. Girls were throwing quarters at us. As soon as we got off stage, every guy grabbed a girl and got a dance. It totally worked.
nice.
But it is a crazy-ass lifestyle, man. And these girls make bank. But here's the thing. They don't own a car. They invest it completely horrible. Like I was like, I would love to get like a degree in like business investment and just invest strippers' money in the market and try to make bank off that.
That's the thing. That's probably a market that financial advisors have never thought of cornering. But it's probably a good idea.
Dude, if they make hand over fist.
Yeah.
Well,
And
you know,
here's
that's the
what
whole
you do.
thing.
You go to the ugly girl because she makes the most money there.
Why is that?
Oh, because my God, you apparently are not a connoisseur of strip clubs. You always go to the ugliest chick. She works the hardest for your tips.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
And
you're gonna get a lap
everybody
dance. You go
thinks-
for like a 6. You don't go for the hottest girl. She feels like you're blessed just to have her on you.
Really?
You want the ugly one who's like got like a chipped tooth or something.
But people think they have a shot with her.
Oh,
The ugly girl they think they
nice.
can bring home. The really
Nice.
hot one, they're like, she's not gonna like me.
Well, you know, the one thing I had heard was that strippers are some of the best tippers because
dude,
they work in
crazy.
the cash world.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Exactly what you're saying is that there's some people, especially when you get cash, the problem with cash is it's a false sense of wealth.
Yes.
Because you think, oh my God, look, I got $1,000 cash in my hand. That's $1,000. First of all, that $1,000 goes a lot faster.
Yeah.
Number one, because you're just throwing your 20, you feel like a baller.
Yeah.
Secondly, if you were to play it legitimately, which I don't know how strippers work, but if you got to if someone's got to declare some of that money somewhere, that's not $1,000.
It's
That's
600.
That's $500.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
$400.
Yeah.
Right. Well, they're trying to come up with ways through loopholes about how not to have to declare their tips. Like it's some artistic stuff and
Well, it used to be like, I'm sure we've all worked in restaurants. It used to be in a restaurant, like you would like the tips. You'd be like, oh, like they would tip you $10. You'd be like, yeah, I got tipped $4.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
so you could tip.
yeah, they would go out. They buy a sandwich for like this was way back in the day. Like sandwich for $5, tip them $15.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
I roll
crazy.
back. I roll back after selling T-shirts, and I have like a wad of cash, and my wife just fucking takes it.
Yeah.
Because I won't spend cash. I'll spend money on a credit card, and when I get cash, I get like greedy with it.
Yeah.
And I love when I'm having a big fat stack of cash.
Well, I don't know if you're the same. Like when I travel, because first of all, there's a couple. Here's a couple of things that come up. First of all, when you travel, you feel like there's always an excuse to you end up at the hotel, the bellboy, you tip the bellboy, you tip the guy that drives you to the thing. You're tipping people kind of left and right, and depending on where and what, I'll change it up. But like when you end up in places like, first of all, if you get recognized, you're screwed.
Yes.
Like I actually have a story when I went to see Tripoli one time when you were doing Beecher's Madhouse.
The craziest gig ever.
Craziest gig ever. Tripoli left me 2 tickets. I was with my wife, and we go to see him at Beecher's Madhouse. We show up, and they're like, sorry, guys. It's packed. They're like, sorry, guys, it's sold out. You can't come in. And we're like, no, one of the performers is my buddy. And the guy's like, sorry. As I'm saying this, there's a big black security guard who recognizes me from Friday After Next.
Yeah.
And he leans into the guy. He's like, you know who that is? And the guy's like, no. And the white guy running the door has no idea who I am.
Yeah.
But the black guy does. He's like, that's Moley. And I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, yeah, what's up, Moley? I'm like, hey, man, I'm my buddy's performing. He's like, no problem. Let me work this out. So he disappears, comes back with another black, supervisor. And they're like, oh, shit, it's Moley. So now I'm VIP, right?
Yeah.
And at this point in my career, I'm doing okay. But I should not be, I could do a little bit of tipping, but not a lot. So I have some cash in my pocket. But now these guys know me as Moley.
Right.
So now I'm like, well, I got to tip the guy who got me the thing. I got to tip him 20, right?
Yeah.
And I can't be like, hey, man, split this with the other guy. You can't, you know what I'm saying? You can't pull that kind of shit.
Put 10 to him.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's
So
great.
now I'm like, now the other guy, and at this point, you got to start tipping
Everybody.
everybody. And you're also like sneaking it in the hand. Hey, man, thanks a lot, buddy. And I'm just tipping 20s. At a point, I'm like running out of money. I'm like, fuck. But that's the problem is with having cash and you're always coming. Like this past weekend, I was in Miami, and it's New Year's weekend. So
Do you like that club, the Miami Club?
Yeah, I do.
The Miami Improv?
I do. But I like chaos.
It's chaos.
Yeah, it can be chaos.
Yeah.
Like it can.
The feng shui in there is crazy.
Feng Shui's horrible.
Yeah, the feng shui is kind of fucked. But I like that. I've had some real hell gigs there, but I've learned more about myself. Like I changed.
You believed in yourself?
I changed into a better comic because of that club. Like I was doing this. I was going up and doing my act there. I was like, this isn't a club you can do your act. You got to go up, read the room. Like it's like old school New York comedy, in my opinion. You go up, you read the room, you look at the crowd, you size it up, you throw out some feeler jokes wherever they respond most. You hit that direction, and then you get them into what you want them to listen to.
Right. Well, that's what the Comedy Store was in general.
The Comedy Stores too. The Comedy Store. I've never really worked at the Comedy Store. I used to a couple times with Louis Anderson a long time ago, but the Comedy Store. Everything I've heard of it is the exact same thing. If you can, people who can do good at the Comedy Store can do good anywhere.
Yeah, it was. I did New Year's there this weekend, and I swear to God, I've been there about 11 years. And Rick Ingram had the greatest set I've ever seen in the main room.
Oh, really?
I mean, it was fire.
Really?
I mean, pure fire. And I don't get scared ever, but I'm like, he's bringing in a new year. He's doing the countdown. He's flamethrowing the room, just pure flamethrowing the room.
Just doing his crowd work stuff that he does?
Yeah, I mean, but it's hitting, dude.
Really?
I mean, and that's a hard shit to follow, the crowd work.
Yeah.
Because most crowd work isn't real crowd work.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you're pulling from what's worked before.
Yeah. Right.
So it's this kind of fake scripted shit. And it is murdering, dude. I mean, from start to finish, it's the greatest set I've seen in the main room.
Wow. Seriously?
Ever.
Wow.
Ever. The only time I saw a better set than that, I've seen two. One was Brian Holtzman at Freddie Soto's memorial.
Oh, yeah. I
And
was
that
there.
sounds like a weird thing, but this guy just murdered the room talking about how most of the people in the room didn't even know Freddie Soto. They were just there to socialize and network.
Yeah.
Just kill. But this
remember
guy's
that.
killing. And you gotta go out there, act like you're not nervous as fuck, and draw from all the tools you've ever learned. And I had a couple things that just
So
killed.
wait, so you're following him after New Year's?
After he does the countdown,
And then you go up?
and then I go up.
Is that part of his 50? Does he do only 15, or does he do longer at that point?
I don't know if Dan, the sound guy, gave him some kind of gave him a couple of extra minutes to kind of lap over, because that really suck. If he was flamethrowing, did the countdown, then brought me out, that would be like the worst case scenario. Because nobody would be listening.
No one. I can't imagine you went up after New Year's. I think the show was over.
No,
Not the Comedy Store, right? It
there's
just keeps going.
there's 2 guys after me.
Hilarious.
What?
So he finishes a countdown, comes back, does some more jokes.
Yes.
Then brings you up.
Goes back, does a couple things. He kind of gets off track a little bit, brings me back up, and I'm like, what are we going to do? And luckily, it was just flamethrowing, but you got to have those skills, man. You got to have those skills.
Yeah.
Do you got to go into the crowd? Like, when you follow somebody like that, what works after? Like, what do you got to do to break that code?
Dude, the stories of the Comedy Store, it's funny. The first time I realized, because what happened for me at the Comedy Store was I'd started, with bringer shows and doing bringer shows.
Your daughters are hilarious.
Okay.
Moving stuff.
And doing bringer shows, it was, as you guys know, it was like 10 horrible comics. So if you were decent, you'd do well. And I always would bring like 5 or 6 people. I always had like a handful of people there. So I was always doing well, doing my set. Then I became a regular at the Comedy Store, and I think it was one of my first paid spots at the Comedy Store, maybe like on a Wednesday night at like 11:30. I showed up, I do my set, and it's the most lukewarm response. And I'm like, what's wrong with these people? They obviously don't get my comedy.
Yeah.
And then after me, Vinny Favorito went up.
I know. Yeah,
And Vinny
I've worked with
Favorito,
That dude would crush a room.
he would crush, and he was like what you said. It was like crowd work that was preset crowd work.
Yeah.
But he was really good at it. And I'm sitting there
Yeah.
watching him. I'm like, oh wow, he's kind of going to the crowd and da 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 da. And I started slowly learning. And the more the more you would have to follow Thunder, the more you realize, forget my set. And I remember that one of the first times when I really let go of my set, it was actually
such a fucking insightful. That's so true. When you have to follow Thunder, you cannot go up with a set,
dude. And you realize, like, one of the first times I was that I started letting go of my set. It was like literally 1:45 in the morning on like a Tuesday. There was no one in the room but these 2 nerdy dudes and this one hot chick. And they were sitting to the right of the stage, like by the booth there. And Freddie Soto was sitting in the back. And there was like the sound, there was just a couple of people hanging out. And I went up on stage, I start doing my jokes, and I'm like, nothing's hitting. And I was really curious about how these 2 nerdy dudes ended up with this hot chick. So in the 2 minutes in, I'm like, guys, you guys are the only ones here. What are we kidding? I was like, how did this happen? And I start talking to them, and then I start riffing, and I start going, and I just have a good set, and I come up with a couple of new jokes and stuff, and then I come up, and they're having a good time because I'm addressing them. We're having they're the only ones there.
Yeah.
So I came off, and Freddie Soto pointed out, he's like, you're funny. I go, thanks, man. He goes, it's not about the bits. He's like, you're either funny or you're not. He goes, if it's not about the bits. He's like, the bits will come
Well, you
and
can
go.
see that too, man. Some people, if they get out of their set, they're lost, man. And
I can't imagine. There are guys I can't imagine when it goes right, it goes right. But when it goes wrong, god damn, that's tough to watch. When you watch someone who just has an act and they're like, and they start at the beginning and they end a certain way.
And no matter what's going on. And I think that's a big difference between old school comics and the new school comics.
Yeah.
And I don't know where I fall in those, but I used to watch some of the guys who were from the 80s, and they would go up and they would do the exact same set. And it didn't matter if it was a packed room or an empty room. There was like this fourth wall, and I just don't think you'd have that. Your set now has to be like this living, breathing thing that.
But that can bite you in the ass when you go to a theater and there's no interaction.
Yeah.
And you go, oh shit, I wish I had an act right now.
Yeah.
Like I've gone into a theater and been like you're so used to doing those clubs that you're like, I need to talk to the audience. Like, but
see, that's where I think that's where this whole Jedi thing that I remember in Comedian, I think it was Chris Rock or somebody was talking about the whole Jedi thing. That's where that starts coming in, because I remember first I'm observing Vinny Favorito and I'm like, wow, this guy's all over the place. Then I'm watching Eddie Griffin. The one thing I did learn from Eddie Griffin was
Is that white people are the devil?
White people are the devil. No, but he was actually he would go from like his set was kind of, he would go from place to place. His first 45 minutes were always pretty strong. Once he started going on and talking about the number
set,
9,
that guy had lightning in a bottle for 45 minutes.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying.
Say that again.
Eddie Griffin, when I got picked up at the Comedy Store, Eddie Griffin was doing 3 hours on stage.
Yeah, I've never seen him do stand up.
Yeah, he did 3 hours on stage. He's an interesting guy. he did 3 hours, but within that 3 hours, there was 45 minutes that was pure brilliance, and if he could cut that stuff down, he would destroy anybody out there.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, he would get up there in those 45 minutes where, like, he'd be like, he would jump in, like, his set would always change. It was material, but he was loose with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then so I would watch that. So now I'm going from Vinny Favorito, who's doing crowd work, to now this guy who's got material, but he's kind of bringing it in with the crowd, to then watching Paul Mooney, who would just go up and do his material and kill. And that's that whole Jedi thing. His material was so strong and his point of view was so clear that he would just start hitting you until you were on his wavelength and then go. And I was like, wow.
Well, that is the key, man. Sometimes when you go up after somebody, like you do the road lot, do you get to bring out your own features yet?
Yeah, but I do.
Sometimes when you go on the road, man, you'll follow. The worst thing I always thought as a headliner is to have a shitty opener and a phenomenal feature.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Oh, my God. What's the guy's name that fucking you worked with? Roy Johnson.
Yeah.
Who's he?
That story is like road legend.
Yeah.
That is road folklore.
What's this?
People know of this story. It got passed around, and Roy Johnson is a nice guy. I actually know him now because I've worked with him, but I had the exact same experience as Sam. Sam went into a club. Roy was like a road feature, but he was our age. And he went in, and I think Roy would admit this, but he tried his hardest to blow Sam off stage. And there's tricks you can do. Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
And Sam was like, came back from that road. Did they flip it up or what happened?
No. What happened was I would go up there and, this guy's trying to blow me out of the waters. And, I'm like, okay, let's do this. So at one point I decide I'm going to ruin this guy's weekend. So I would go up there and just flamethrow the room.
Yeah.
And he would sell zero merch after.
Yeah.
So anyways, my manager at the time calls the club and they're like, hey man, how'd Sam do? He goes, well, the crowds love Sam. The staff loves Sam. And the who else was the crowd loves Sam. He killed on radio. But the mystery shopper didn't like Sam.
Mystery shopper said they send out mystery shoppers to these clubs, and the mystery shopper said she liked the other guy better than Sam.
Yeah.
Who the fuck's the mystery shopper?
Now you're thinking mystery shopper. This is probably some waitress from another club who comes to this club. No, it's just somebody who's willing to get free tickets and judge the show.
Oh my God.
So anyways, I don't get asked back.
What club is this?
Cincinnati?
Dayton Funny Bone.
Oh, is it Dayton?
Outta here.
Yeah. So they ask him back. He's working with Steve Trevino.
Yeah.
They're watching Roy Johnson do his set. He does Brett Ernst's pink lemonade joke verbatim, word for word. So he gets asked back. I don't get asked back, and that's the story of my fucking life.
But what the folklore was, and this is what I was fascinated by, was that Roy got the kibosh from everyone that knew Sam. So like everyone that knew Sam had this story, and had I told this to Roy one night drinking. Had he been cool and embraced Sam and been friends with him, as opposed to try to blow him off stage, he would have come back, and everyone, like fucking Bern, Ernst, myself, everyone that
want
wants
to use you,
would like take him on the road. And so now I think, and he was like, I just don't get it. I remember him saying, like, I don't get it. I don't understand why I'm not moving forward. And I go, because you never embraced these people you were meeting. You never went into the road and you see a young comic like, say, Tom Segura, and go, I can eat his lunch. You instead you should go like, hey man, it's really cool that you're here. Like, if you want to go out to eat,
have a good show.
Let's have a good time. Let's party. Like
that is so important about who you take on the road. Like, you want to hang with. Like, I've taken guys on the road with me now. I like hanging with all of them.
Yeah.
Like right now I'm taking out Amir K. This guy is like the coolest guy.
That dude is hilarious.
This guy is one of the funniest guys. What you were just talking about, like people like, I want a heavy hitter before me. Like this guy is a killer. I'll sit there quoting his jokes. It's like this guy is, he's funny, man. And sometimes it happens where what you just said, we'll end up with like the town will give us the host, and the host is just like eating it. And then Amir goes out
and crushes.
I give him 20 to 30. He kills. I'm in the back laughing.
Yeah.
I'm like crying of laughter. And I love that. I mean, I go and I know for me, like what'll happen with me now is because I've got these guys that will kill.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go out, and my fans come out now to see me. They're excited. I'll come out with, like, this music. I'll do a dance. I'll come out to Gangnam Style.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm coming out to. I'm not kidding, dude. I'll come out to the newest hit. I'll come out to Gangnam. People are like, ah! And it's like, and I know, like, I'll do, like, 30 to 45 minutes of strong. Like, they're with me, and I can start feeling about 40 minutes or so. And it's funny because people will judge you sometimes because they'll see Amir do his 20 to 25 minutes of lightning coming off of that other guy.
Yep.
And now you're doing 45 to an hour, and now the checks are being dropped.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh,
Dude,
fuck.
let me tell you the worst gig I've ever had. When I used to do a lot of the improvs, it was the weirdest thing because I always felt like they wanted to test me every time. And I even flew into one place, and they're like, yeah, we got our strongest feature we got. We wanted to see how you can do after him. I'm like, why are you doing that? I felt like Jet Li. I was just going like dojo to dojo, fighting everybody's kung fu masters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was
Hilarious.
Like it's a fucking old school.
Right.
You gotta go and take out the fucking town bully.
yeah, that's how I felt. Like they were always testing me, man.
That's fucking hilarious.
And one time, dude, I don't want to say his name because he's a good friend of mine. I had this feature, and my manager at the time was like, dude, just know this guy's really hard to follow. And, and I used to follow, like, this isn't a lie to me. I used to follow Andrew Dice Clay almost every night for a year at the Comedy Store. Joe Rogan every night for a year. I used to get standing O's after Eddie Griffin. When he'd do 3 hours, I would go up. So I followed this dude, and one night, they had this new manager there. It was a really cute chick with huge tits, and she was really, like, I think, attracted to my feature. I let this one guy who was a friend of mine do 10 minutes. So the host is doing 15. The guest spot is doing 10.
Yeah.
This feature goes up and does 40 minutes. I walk up to checks being dropped on stage.
I think I know who this guy is.
I was like, you have to be a pure flamethrowing. And I walk up. I'm 10 minutes in. I've lost completely lost the room. I should have canceled it. But, I mean, what do you do at that point?
Yeah.
Like 10 minutes, I mean, just lost, bro. I mean, and I was kind of, even though I've been doing it for.
How'd you get through that?
I just ate dick for about 40 minutes.
You know what? Because I'm running into this now, and it depends on the town and where you are. First of all, like, for example, Amir and I were in, was he in New York with me? Yeah, I think, he was in New York. So New York at Caroline's.
Yeah.
The crowd, it was packed in a great club. The crowds that have been coming out to see me, there's a lot of Persian Jews in Great Neck. So like when I first started, kind of going back to kind of what you were talking about, and I'll come to the story and say, when we started doing, like, we did Axis of Evil, we did like Arabian Nights with Tripoli and everything, and first it was younger people were coming out to the shows, so they'd get your jokes.
Yeah.
Then they started bringing their, like, parents, then like their grandparents. So now you're looking at at a club, and like there's a 80-year-old in the audience, and there's a 12-year-old.
Middle Eastern shows will do that. They will bring.
I would hate that.
But
That would drive me nuts.
But now listen, though, Bert. In the middle of that, like, there's also like regular, like, there's white people, there's Latino, there's a lot of people, but the Middle Easterners have brought their family, and so you're sitting there like what you were saying at the Carolines, and you're just like, wow, this audience, like what you were saying, it's like they're at some point they've lost interest and they're out somewhere else. Now you go to the Ice House, a lot of Armenians come out. Armenians love laughing, and you leave that room going like, I'm a rock star. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't matter.
Ice
I
House.
want more Armenian fans.
So I ran into.
I want Armenian fans.
Well, no, I ran.
Have a great base. Your crowd has to be awesome.
I ran into your dropping check thing this past weekend in Miami. At like a certain point, like they started talking and everything. So what I did, I've started just going like, just kind of like, okay, how we doing, guys? All right, and I was like, I got to come up with some check dropping jokes.
You ready? I'm going to give you the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
This is the
Try
greatest
to blow
thing.
yourself.
Yeah, take your pants off and try to suck your own dick on stage. What, guys, you're just paying your injections. Let me know when you're done. Go. We'll see who finishes first, me or you. So no, I bring a chick on. I bring one of the wait staff on stage while they're dropping checks, and I interview them. And the wait staff loves it because it jacks up their checks. They jacks up their tips. I ask them, I go, what are you going to do with the money if you get extra, I go, what would be a good night of tips? And they always get like $75. I go, say you got 150. Say everyone just gave you like $2 extra. What would you do with that extra money? And first of all, you get some hilarious answers. You get great answers, but you get like the smart girls will always be like, I'm taking my kids to the movies. And the fucking place goes, oh, and they tip out the ass.
That's a great
wait
idea.
Staff loves it. The best is if you find someone in the staff with a talent. When I did when I was doing the Jameson tour, I had to close the Jameson tour. I had to go after Billy Gardell, after Steve Byrne, after Danny, so I had to close the Jameson tour, and I just would get on stage to the check drop. It was you do 5 minutes and then check drop, and it was like half of my set was a check drop. So I'd bring up a girl on stage. One time I had her. I was in
How
Cincinnati.
do you know who's got the talent?
I stepped in shit one time. I had this girl. I go, what do you want to if you get extra trips, what are you gonna do? She goes, I'm gonna move to LA and I'm gonna be a singer. And I was like, you can sing? And she was like, yeah. Hot black chick with an afro. And I go, let's hear
You're
it.
like, Macy, great, baby.
Yeah, I go, let's hear it. She grabs a mic and starts belting out. No one's even paying checks. They're just watching this go on. And I start stripping. I get down to like a boot on my junk, and the place is fucking losing their mind. She is hitting a home run. Billy Gardell runs up with Steve and fucking Danny. Shots at tequila or shots at Jameson. We do a shot. Billy grabs a mic and he goes, we are the Jameson Comedy Tour. Everyone goes fucking nuts. He gives me a hug and he goes, you got 10 more minutes, asshole. I still had 10 minutes to do.
You buried yourself.
I buried myself. But that's that's a great.
I've done that, dude. When you just hit lightning in a bottle, doing some crowd work. I did something in Los Angeles. No, where was? Have you ever heard the Joe Rogan heckle kill?
No.
The greatest heckle kill ever.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Was when I was in Phoenix, Arizona, and I was doing this joke about getting my ass kicked by a girlfriend, and I have stitches here from when she kicked me in the face.
You really got your ass kicked by your girlfriend?
Well, I had to go to the hospital because she kicked me in the face.
Okay.
She was laying on top of me. I'm like, you're a little drunk. Calm down.
Yeah.
And you start getting a little claustrophobic. You're like, I got to get up. And you just lift yourself up, and you see her falling backwards. You see her face go, and I just like, oh, fuck. And, dude, her foot comes back and just goes, boom. And this time I'd had like some badger tooth. Yeah. A little longer than the other one. It went right through my lip. Ow. So I had to get stitched. And I'm telling this whole story. And the joke is basically about when I went to work next day, I told everybody my girlfriend kicked me in the face, and they were all laughing their ass off. If it's the other way, it's like, oh, you're a horrible human being.
Yeah.
But if you get your ass kicked by your girlfriend, it's like, ha, funny. So I tell the joke, and I drop the punchline. All of a sudden I hear, joke thief. And I'm like, what? And my whole family is there.
Yeah.
Joke thief. I'm like, what are you talking about? You're like, you're a joke thief. You stole that. I'm like, I didn't steal that. She's like, yeah, you did. You stole that from Joe Rogan. I go, what are you, crazy lady? She's like, you're a joke thief. And I'm on stage. The whole room is froze.
Yeah.
I'm like, Joe Rogan doesn't do that joke. Shut up, lady. No, he does do that joke. I'm like, oh, God. I go, what if I call Joe Rogan and tell him that I go, what if I call Joe Rogan and he'll tell you it's not his joke? She goes, good, do it, but you won't because you're a fucking joke thief. So I'm like, first of all, I got lucky that she picked the one celebrity at that time.
You're like, what if it's on the phone? Hi, I think Los Angeles, California, Joe Rogan. Yeah, R-O-G.
She was like Gallagher. I was fucked.
It's good to have Frank Caliendo's number in your phone. Just call Frank and go, hey, Joe Rogan. And he's like, powerful Bert Kreischer.
That's hilarious.
Just call Frank Caliendo. I go, Al Pacino, sure, hold on.
So I call him up, and this was like during MySpace days, and I call him up, and Joe would never answer. He would either text me back or call me the next day.
Yeah.
So I call him, nothing. I hang up. I'm like, he doesn't answer. She goes, of course he didn't answer. Because you're a fucking joke thief. Why would he answer your phone? I'm like, shut up, lady. All of a sudden, my phone rings, and it's Joe Rogan. And he's like, Tripoli, what's up? I'm like, Joe, I'm on stage. This girl says, I stole your joke. He goes, you're on stage right now? I go, yeah. He goes, you're fucking crazy. I go, Joe, do you do a joke about getting your ass kicked by your girlfriend? Well, if you know Joe Rogan, he doesn't get his ass kicked by anybody.
Yeah. Right.
So he goes, no, I don't do any joke about that. I go, okay. Before I made this call, I go, if I call Joe and he goes, it is his joke, I'll quit comedy. If he says it's not his joke, you have to come up on stage and let this guy suck on your tits.
what are the fucking stakes of this gamble?
It's all in. It's like a wrestling death match.
To let this
Hilarious.
guy suck on your tits.
She goes, do it. Because you won't, because you're a joke thief. I'm like, okay, Joe, just tell him what you just told me. He's like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Oh, it's Joe Rogan. It's Joe Rogan. The guy goes, blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah, this is Joe Rogan. No, I don't have any jokes like that. Sam doesn't need to steal jokes. He's a funny guy. And fuck you, bitch. And the whole place just goes,
Fucking.
I go, Joe, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I got to take care of some business. Time to pay the toll to the troll, right? I'm like, let's go, lady. She's like, fuck you, I ain't going to do it. The whole place starts booing her.
Shut up.
I tried to go into my act after that. Nothing. Show is done. Greatest heckle kill ever. This chick got bitch slapped in Phoenix, Arizona from Hollywood, California.
That's fucking great.
I ended show. I go apologize to my aunt because it was such a filthy show.
Wait,
Oh, your aunt was there?
Your family's
Always,
there?
of course.
And you're going to have people suck your
Hilarious.
tits? Your family comes to watch you? Oh, that's fucking great.
Yeah. So then I look over, and every chick in the bar had just gone after this chick because she was hanging out with some gorilla, some huge dude. I see the chick and the gorilla getting chased out by a pack of hens, just chasing out like 8 chicks chasing these guys out. And it was like the craziest heckle kill ever, but I couldn't follow it. I tried to do material. At that point, you're just done.
This weekend, I had some guy rush the stage to try to fight me.
Why?
Why? What happened?
He actually didn't get it. He didn't get what was going on. He just didn't understand. He just not that bright of a guy.
Was he fresh off the boat? Was he like?
No, he's a
meathead.
He was a meathead, but he was a regular guy. And I was talking to the girl at his table. Girl at his table had said something. It's so hacky. I feel even embarrassed to even tell you the dialogue that was happening. But I had said it's a weird show. I've had weird shows. I don't know how we got into the whole thing about. But I was trying to tell you that one time I did have a blind guy on my show, and I asked him. I'd always wanted to know, and it's kind of a hacky joke, but how did he know when he's done wiping his ass? And his answer was, I wipe until it hurts. I thought that was funny, but I was just going to try to get to that, and she starts going, I wipe their asses. And I went, what? She goes, I wipe blind people's asses. And I went, you that's what you do? She goes, yeah. And everyone starts laughing. And I go, I think you're overqualified. I think you could probably get different work. And then she's trying to tell me, and then I said, well, do you look at the toilet paper after you wipe their asses? And she's like, no. And I go, well, you should start. So we're talking, and he just gets up and goes, hey, that's enough of this. You've gone too far, okay?
Oh,
it's her birthday, and you're ruining her night. She is offended. And she goes, and then I hear her go, I'm not offended. And I'm not.
Oh, it's the birthday girl telling you
The
this?
birthday girl, that's who I'm going back and forth with. And he's like, and I go, listen, man, don't charge the stage like you're going to do something. I'm telling you that I was not this tough on stage. I was genuinely kind of a bitch.
I'll tell you why I did that.
And so then, and her boyfriend was with her, and his boyfriend's like, no, we love you. We came out. We drove from Fort Myers to see you. And then I brought her on stage. I do a shot, and I go, are you okay? And she goes, yeah, I don't know why he did that. And I was like, really? And she goes, yeah. And then the guy was embarrassed. And then he was like, he was genuinely embarrassed, and the whole crowd was like, fucking, it's comedy. Sit the fuck down, asshole.
Oh, jeez.
And I tape recorded the whole thing, so I have it on tape.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So,
But alcohol, man. People just get drunk and they're stupid, and you don't know. And
I got heckled by a blind guy one time.
a blind guy.
Not to outblind your blindness.
Yeah.
There was a blind guy at the Brea Improv one time, and he's sitting sideways, and he's staring off at the wall. And I made a joke, and I said, I didn't realize he was blind, and then he said, I'm blind. He's with all his friends, and I'm like, oh, fucking, till this day it makes my skin crawl. And I'm like, I have a good question. How hard is it to clear a room before you jerk off? Like, because you got roommates. Like, is that tough? And he goes, I don't know. And I said, you've never jerked off? And he goes, I don't know, man. I don't know, okay? And I go, well, hang on. You are blind, right? And he's like, yes. And I go, and you've never had to clear a room to jerk off? I go, I don't think you're blind. And he goes, I'm fucking blind, man. Jesus Christ. And and now I'm like digging and digging and digging.
Bert.
And finally he stands up and tries to leave, but he's blind. He's walking into fucking everything. And he's doing it so bad that I think it's over the top. And one of his friends.
Are you riding him?
No, because he's knocking over fucking tables, and I'm like, this is a show. He's not really blind. He just has sunglasses on, and he's fucking with me. He's trying to be funny.
Nobody's helping him?
Fucking no. So one of his friends goes over and walks him out, I'll never forget. You remember? No, Adam Richman.
Yeah.
Adam Richman actually stopped him and goes, "Would you like to file a complaint with the Improv?" I was like, "Adam, what the fuck are you doing?"
Why would he
Tom
do
Segura
that?
was next to him. He goes, "Adam, shut the fuck up." Yeah. And then the guy, they leave, and I go, "I don't think he was blind." And they're like, "He just got blind like 3 days ago." And I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, we took him out to try to cheer him up, but yeah, he just lost his vision 3 days ago." I was like, "Motherfucker!" I was like, "Oh, why don't you guys?" I go, "Oh my god!" I was like,
How was that set after that?
"Oh, that was the end of that show." That was the back when you could do like the Brea Improv like every Tuesday night, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Or I was like, "Oh fuck,
That is horrible.
Jesus.
I felt so bad, and I went out to find him, and they were drinking at the bar next door, the Yard House, and and then I think I talked to them or something, and the guy he'd gotten in a motorcycle accident. I was like, fuck.
Sometimes you got to wonder, like I've had it where I'm like, where is management or security when some of this shit? Like at the Comedy Store, one time I was at the Comedy Store like on a Tuesday or something, and I'm just doing my set.
Where is management or security?
Anybody, I'm just doing my set. Literally, this guy walks up. He walks into the club. He starts walking towards the stage. It's like one of those nights where it's like 20 people. I'm having a pretty good set. I'm doing my thing. This guy walks towards the stage, in front of the stage, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, he's coming to sit down. He keeps coming. He starts walking towards, like he's going to walk up the stage, and I go, "Can I help you?" And he goes, "I just want to tell a joke." And I go, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, I just want to do a joke." And I was like, "No." And I realized this guy walked into the club. Nobody stopped him. Nothing. He walked into the club, starts walking towards it. There's no doorman. There's nobody to say, "Hey, what are you up to?" He literally he was a crazy guy off the streets, wanted to do a joke.
And no one stopped him.
No one stopped. And now nothing came of it because I was like, "No, dude, get off." And then I was like, "Hello, security." I go, "Can someone please help?" And I'm thinking to myself, this could have, and it was perfect because I just done some joke about like fucking, I don't know, like Al Qaeda or somebody coming after me, or like the FBI, or I forget what it was. It was some joke about like I don't know what it was. Maybe I hadn't even done that. Maybe I talked about my background, and I was like, "Were you sent by somebody to?" So the crowd was with me, but I was thinking to myself, I was like, a crazy person can just walk, and fucking come at you. And it's just you and them, and it's like, where is security,
dude? I've done shows where the crowd has to bounce somebody. I was doing this. I was following Brody Stevens at the Comedy Store, and we had this weird change because at some point Brody's just going through all of his credits, and it's funny, but he keeps going. He's going. I'm like, come on, bring me up, man. So, anyways, we have this weird. He's getting heckled by this Australian girl. And he's like, "Sam, do you want me to leave her up here?" I'm like, "No, kick her off." And the place goes crazy. So I realized it's not a fun heckler, where you can have fun with them. So he brings me up. I start doing my act. I'm kind of like taking shots at Brody, having fun with him. She comes up and she starts screaming at me.
Why the fuck? How the fuck can you go into a comedy club and get that physically upset?
I don't know, but she's screaming and screaming and screaming. And of course, I'm like, where is the security? Now, if you ever done the Comedy Store, they only hire emos to bounce.
Yeah.
It's all like skinny jeans and sweaters and tight T-shirts.
Aspiring comedians.
Yeah. So dude, and this chick's, I'm watching her face going from mad to angry to murder. Like she wants, it's just getting ugly. And I'm just nailing her. Just killing this chick. I don't know where this like 5'4" chick walks up from the crowd, walks over, grabs her.
Hilarious.
Face to face, spins her around, smacks her on the ass, pulls her back around, lifts her up, puts her over her shoulder.
I love it.
And walks her out the thing. Sets her outside, goes, "Don't come back inside," walks back in and sits down. I'm like, "Do you know that chick?" She's like, "No, she's fucking annoying." I go, "Did you just bounce her?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "That's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life."
Hilarious.
That's fucking awesome.
That's awesome.
That's why I've always been like, there should be chick bouncers.
It's weird because I feel like I'm going to say successful is not the right word, but like the longer you've been doing it, the more of a following that you get, the less that happens, the less crazy people come out and start screaming.
But there's
at your
always
show.
going to be some crazy people, like, because what happens is, especially if you're doing clubs, if you're doing a theater, it's different because they definitely know that they bought the ticket to come see you. But when you're doing a club, there's going to be a few random people. This talk about the Middle East. I was doing a show in Beirut.
Dude, when you bomb there, do you literally bomb?
You really literally bomb. No, I was doing a show in Beirut. This was crazy. So I'm doing a show in Beirut, and this guy set up. This is what happened. I went from doing a show in Saudi Arabia the night before, at an animal preserve, because in Saudi Arabia it's illegal to do shows. So the guy that would do the shows, it was
that
like
crazy. It's
Yeah.
illegal to do shows.
Yeah.
Why?
It's because it's just like what it is Saudi Arabia's got a very diverse kind of citizenry. It's got like the religious types, and then they've got the people that are a lot more liberal. And the religious types years ago, like I don't know, 30 years ago or so, I don't know the exact history, but they were saying like 30 some odd years ago, like movies were banned, like just like that kind of like Western entertainment was banned.
No wonder they blow themselves up.
It was banned, but the problem is, look, the thing is, a lot of people get it like underground DVDs and all kinds of stuff. Like you could get.
Oh,
everything.
I've heard that. I've heard like the number one in cable is like hardcore pornography.
Yeah, you get everything, man. Everything you like. So there's like a group that's getting like sees and does what they want, and then and a lot of it's like from poverty and stuff. Like the people that are like poorer probably like are a lot more religious, and they just listen to whatever is told them, and that's it. So anyway, so entertainment is illegal. So this guy would put together these comedy shows, and they were all underground. And
Is that scary?
For me, it's not, because like we're coming from America, so having an American passport is really like they really are good to you. Like I mean, if I were doing drugs or something, that's a whole other ball game. Okay. But if I'm there as an entertainer, especially as like someone who like is known, then if I were to get in trouble, the worst they would do is maybe like deport me, like get out of here. The guy who threw the shows would get in trouble.
And you can't bring a drink on stage.
No, you can't. No, alcohol is totally illegal. But again, people have it in their places. It's like underground. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so I'd gone from like doing a show. So to do shows, they either have to do them at like embassies or like so like they not embassies. I'm sorry, like they did it at the consulate. Like we did it like in Jeddah, we did it at the Venezuelan consulate or with the Italian consulate. So it's like closed doors, and it's another country.
For
really.
expats?
It's for locals. So like a lot of these people in the Middle East are Western educated. So like there's a lot of like young kids who are like learning English and stuff. So they'll come again. It's like, and the audiences are amazing because they don't like here in LA. You can go see 50 movies. You can go see a bunch of comedy shows. You can do whatever you want. Over there, you're the only show in town, so they're showing up.
And it's like that old school dangerous. It's like drinking beers when you were 14 because it's illegal. It's like
it's illegal,
like
but like I mean, I think for the most part, people are like pretty secure that like nothing's gonna happen. Although, like for example, like the guy was telling me one time they did do a show because one of the things is like in Saudi Arabia in particular, like women aren't even allowed to drive. So like for young girls
They've got everything wrong.
Right, exactly. No,
they've got some good ideas.
No, Asian women are definitely not allowed to drive. No, but like the guy was telling me they were doing a show one time, I think at one of these consulates, and like so once you go into the consulate, it's another country. Like even Saudi police can't do anything. But the Saudi police, like in this area that's like an affluent area, it's like Embassy Row. The Saudi police saw all these like cars driving up with like these like teenage girls getting out, and they were like, "What's going on here?" And they got upset, and like they closed down the show. And like a lot of these girls that are coming, like they all have clout. Like they're like because they're Western educated, so their parents are somebody, so they can't really get in a lot of trouble. Again, the person that can get in a lot of trouble is the promoter. Really, is like probably who's going to get.
Being a promoter must be dangerous as shit.
Yeah, it is. But at the same time, so it's like they know that they've like, for example, there's like. The Saudis have like thousands of princes. Like there's a bunch of people in the royal family. So these promoters will have like a prince in the royal family kind of backing them up. Like, so if worse comes to worse, it's all about like who you know. And
that's crazy.
Yeah. So you do these shows. So I've done this show in Saudi Arabia. So you either got to do it like at a consulate or like I did one in like at this.
Now, did you have to bring people? Was it a bringer?
It was a bringer. No, I was saying it's crazy. Like you are like I was saying, like, I'm the Eddie Murphy of the Middle East because Eddie Murphy ain't going to the Middle East. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. So it's like, so you show up in Saudi Arabia, and it's this show and in Riyadh, and this guy's got like this outdoor setup with like 1,000 seats outdoors. It's this animal preserve. So this one prince owns this animal preserve where there's like a racetrack where you race cars. Then there's like like lions out back somewhere. He's set up this whole thing. So like, and you're like a celebrity there, right? So they're like, we're gonna show up early. They're gonna give you a car to drive around the racetrack for a while. So I'm driving like a BMW.
Your
around
gigs
the
are
racetrack.
way better than my gigs, man.
So then I go do the show, and then we go to do the show, and they've set up these 2 tents that are like the green rooms. There are these 2 tents with like food and everything, and we're hanging out, and suddenly it starts raining. It hadn't rained in like 2 years, so it starts raining, and then they're like, "What are we gonna do?" And I go, "Don't worry," because what they do is they put local comics on the show to do like 10, 15 minutes each, then you headline. And I was supposed to do this outside on the stage. I go, you know what? I go, we do this at the Comedy Store all the time. I go, there's 3 rooms. I go, what you do is you have the MC go and start in the other tent. I go, take the 1,000 people, put 500 in one tent, put another 500 in the other tent. We don't even need mics. I go, we don't even need mics. We just put the comics on the table, have everyone else sit around the tent, and I go, the host starts, does his 15, then brings up the next guy. By the time I'm up here, you get the show going in the other, because once the host does tent 1, he goes to tent 2 and gets the show going in tent 2. Right. And I go, you just keep going, and then I go, if we lag in time, either the guy's got to do a little extra time, or they can take an intermission. I'll come in, I'll close it out.
You're like MacGyver over there.
MacGyver. I'm putting this together, and then we're like ready to go, and it's raining outside, and suddenly the rain stops. Oh. So now we're like, what are we gonna do? And then one of the people there is like, listen, in Saudi Arabia, when the rain stops, it stops. We're like, all right, back out. We're like, back outside. Everyone back outside. So everyone's outside.
In Saudi Arabia. LA has none of those adages.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In Saudi Arabia, when the rain stops, it stops.
It stops.
If you see a buffalo.
Yeah. So now we're outside, and it's windy, and people are like putting blankets over themselves and stuff, and we're doing the show. 1,000 people, rock and roll. It's a successful show. Here's the other thing that's really trippy is the whole thing of like male, female, right? So I'd forgotten, like, women aren't allowed into some restaurants. Like women, like so after the show, these guys, and I'm with like the promoter's this British guy. There's like a lot of the other performers are, you know, Saudis and you know, Lebanese and like just other Arab comics that live there. And they're like, hey, let's go grab a bite. So we go to, like, the main strip in Riyadh. Like, it's like going on the Sunset Strip. And there's cars cruising. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. It's packed. And it's, like, hot as hell at, like, 2 in the morning. It's hot as hell. And you're like, wow, this is pretty cool. And you look around. You're like, wait a minute. It's all guys. There's no girls. I'm like, where's the girls? They're like, girls aren't allowed. And he's like, once in a while, the girls who are really, like, pushing the envelope a little bit, like, and these are like young girls, they'll get their driver to bring them out, and these are girls who like probably feel like, hey, I got enough clout where if anybody pulls me over, like my dad is the minister of whatever, so they'll get their driver to bring them out, and the tinted windows in like a nice car, and like they're trying to meet boys, so they'll like exchange whatever numbers or some shit. But you're looking out at the coffee shops, like there's Starbucks, there's all kinds of Western shit, but there's all dudes hanging out. I'm like, what the hell?
I might like the Middle East. I might have enjoyed that. I think the amount of freedom we have right now is kind of fucking insane, and I think it probably. It's like the other day. Like the other day, I just said to myself, I'm going to stop using my cell phone. I'm going to give myself a day off from my cell phone, and I didn't have this general underlying anxiety.
There's probably something nice to that.
Yeah, and so like I think it would be cool to go. I don't know.
They use their cell phones. They use their cell phones even more than we do. Here's somebody pointed this out to me. They go, listen, Facebook is huge in the Middle East. The reason it's huge in the Middle East is because, of course, the reason it's huge in the Middle East is because, again, young guys and girls can't go to a coffee shop. Their coffee shop is Facebook. They have to do all their talking, communicating there, and then they'll go to like an event like ours, or they'll go to a party. There's all the show that I was telling you, like because Bert and I ran into each other. Bert's like, you should do a show for the Travel Channel. The show I wanted to do was, I want to go and show the West how westernized the Middle East is. Like when I went to do these shows, the dudes showed up like all dressed in like dark, like goth-looking clothes. I was like, "What's your deal?" He's like, "Oh, I'm a death rock musician." Like there's a death rock scene in Saudi Arabia. We were escorted to our show by the Harley Davidson chapter of Riyadh. Like 100 dudes showed up in Harleys. Let's go, guys.
Are they big and fat like our Harley guys?
They're not. They're actually better shape.
Really?
But they dress with all the stuff. It was just crazy. So all that stuff's go. So I would just get.
But they just don't mingle with the chicks.
No, they mingle with the chicks. They find their own way to do it. I mean, out in public, you can't mingle with the chicks. But like behind closed doors.
I really wanted you. Whatever happened with that with the Travel Channel?
I don't know. We talked to the person in talent, and then they were like talking to some people in development. I don't even know what happened with that. But that's a side story. But the getting to the thing of like once your fans are coming to your shows, you don't get heckled as much.
Yeah.
Well, so I go from like rock and roll in front of 1,000 people in Riyadh, where it's set up for my show, and these guys are like, and you can do no wrong. Like even if you feel like you're having a bad set, like you're a celebrity. You know what I'm saying? Like they're having a great time. To the next day, I fly. I go to Beirut. Now Beirut's the total opposite. Beirut, anything goes. Like chicks, guys, sex, drugs, and they party. It's like
I could get down in Beirut,
dude. Beirut is. I always tell people, I go to Beirut. Beirut is beautiful. It's on the Mediterranean.
I heard it's like Paris.
Dude, it's crazy. Well, they used to say it's like the Paris of the Middle East. It's not quite like that, but it's like going to like what I
There's
would
booze over there?
booze galore, dude. It's like
I could
forget
get
it,
drunk in Beirut,
dude. I showed up in Beirut.
If he get down to a boot on his dong in Beirut, would there be trouble?
If he did what on his dong?
What would you say you got down to?
got down to a boot on my dong, just like when I stripped for that show.
They would probably, depending on where. Like if you're,
if I came out in Beirut, if it's say me, you and Tripoli are in Beirut, you're
obviously opening.
Yeah, you're headlining, but I come out to the Black Betty, Bam-a-lam, Black Betty, Bam-a-lam,
right.
Rip my shirt off, pound a beer, and do my first 15 minutes shirtless.
They'd love you.
They'd be like, really?
They'd love you.
I'd imagine they'd be like, so this is they were right. Americans are lunatics.
Yeah.
No. They would love you. They would no.
Is that your set? You open up with 15 minutes with your shirt off?
I do sometimes if I'm in a good mood, I'll come up to Black Betty, rip my shirt off.
So now you're
pound a
sober.
beer.
You're drunk at this point.
Sober, that's first beer of the night. If
okay.
it's a one show night, definitely. Like a Thursday or a Sunday, because I don't have to worry about the next show, so I'll just go up, pound a Heineken, rip my shirt off, and do probably my first 15 minutes shirtless.
They would love you.
Have
They
you
would
ever
love you.
just been shit?
Yes.
This is a dumb question, but
Yes.
man, I did a show one time. I was Carlos Mencia had shown up, and he bumped me, and I had this rule with Carlos that if he does more than 30 minutes, I don't go up, because like wherever you are, that's over 30 minutes is a headlining spot.
Yeah.
Let him close it up. So he bumps me, does 29 minutes. So I gotta go up.
His alarm goes off in his phone. He goes, okay, that's my time.
So he gets done, and he goes, you guys have been great. I mean, and again, he's trying to bury me.
Yeah.
He's trying to put me deep.
Yeah.
And he's using every N-word, and the place is going crazy. I mean, just fire. And he goes, man, you guys are great, man. Great show. The place goes nuts. He goes, are you ready for your next comic? And literally the entire room goes, oh.
There's another one?
Yes, that's literally what was going on in that room. And I'm not lying. For the first time ever in my life, I got tunnel vision. Where I'm like,
Hold the mic. You need
on
the mic.
the planet right now. I just had this weird tunnel. I could barely see the stage. He's like, I'm the one in this room who has to follow this shit. So he goes, all right, man, you guys ready? Please welcome to your headliner, Sam Tripoli. And he does, to this day, I think is the worst thing I've ever seen. He runs off stage. He leaves the stage completely
doesn't wait for you.
empty.
Yeah.
So 5 minutes it take me to get up the stage because I'm doing high-fiving everybody, and they're like, oh, good luck on that, bro. Good luck. Good luck with that. And I go up, and I just have this joke I do when I follow a really big name in a horrible situation, and I drop it, and the whole place, boom! And like for 45 minutes, I just murder this room. And
Yeah.
they
Wait, the Comedy Store?
No, it was at the Edison Improv.
Oh, okay. Dallas.
Oh, man.
What's the joke that you do when you follow somebody like
It's
that?
so dumb, I don't even want to say it.
Let's hear it. Come on.
No,
Yeah,
it's just
come
like,
on.
oh, great, I got to follow like Carlos Mencia at the Improv. You come to my gig next week, I got to follow the Pope at the Vatican.
Okay.
And the place just goes nuts. The guy,
Yeah.
It always kills. I
Yeah.
follow doing it Dane Cook. I follow Joe Rogan, everybody. And I kill for 45 minutes. And I go next door to the piano bar. And everyone's like, you did it, man. We were with you. totally were helping, man. And shots.
Yeah.
Well, I'd gotten a standing O earlier in the week. So the whole staff had decided to bring all their friends to the 11 o'clock, 11:30 show.
Oh, that's those 3 show Saturdays.
Yeah.
Oh, they
yeah,
fucking suck.
Yeah.
I was blackout drunk on stage for
Hilarious.
45 minutes, dude.
Hilarious.
And they're like, oh, well, he was funny the whole rest of the week. And I shot myself in the foot because I'd followed this, I could have done I Survived, the TV show after that.
Yeah.
Well, the drinking thing is funny because I think the one time that I was you were there. I'd gone to dinner with some friends at before the comedy store, and then I brought all my friends, and I drank so much that I was up there kind of drunk. And I remember the audience wasn't laughing, but I remember I think you and Brett Ernst and a few other people in the back just cracking up because I don't know what I was saying, but I realized you can't get too drunk. And the Stone thing I've done once with when I was hosting a thing with Galern. And I kept coming back, and they're getting stoned. So I was like, let me try this. I'm really paranoid when I get stoned. So I was hosting, and it was 5 people in this room, and I would tell a joke, and the joke would go out, and there'd be no reaction, and then a few seconds later, they would start laughing. And I think it was my head with the weed was fucking with my head, and I was like, oh my God, they know I'm stoned. And I was like, do I acknowledge it? I go, no, I can't acknowledge it because that's trouble. You think it's trouble.
Yeah.
So then I was just, and I realized it was the worst feeling ever. So I said, never again stoned. Never again. But the drunk, I get a little, I don't drink. Now you could go to Beirut. Now here's the thing. So I went from Saudi Arabia, it's, there's no booze. The next 2 days, so I get to Beirut. Now in Lebanon, the guy was like, listen, man, short notice, blah, blah, blah. We're going to do the show at a bar. My friend has a bar. We'll do it at the bar. Yeah. I'm like, great. So I show up, and first of all, talk about booze. The guy's like, what do you need to drink? I go, you guys got any Don Julio? He's like, yeah, I got Don Julio. I go, just give me a double Don Julio rocks, lime. He's like, no problem. He comes up with a bottle of Don Julio. He's like, that's your bottle. And he's like,
That's great.
And he pours me the thing, and I'm starting to have a couple sips. I don't want to get drunk because I got 2 shows that night. I go downstairs. They've set the stage up on the bar, so I feel like Ugly Betty.
You're standing on the bar?
Ugly Coyote. What's that?
Coyote Ugly.
I'm on the fucking bar. There's 2 bars. There's one bar that's functioning, and the other bar with the whole setup of booze behind me. I'm standing on the bar doing my show. Now this goes back to what you were saying about not having hecklers at your show because people know you. Well, this is a room with 150 people, so. There's not that much room for people to come beyond the people that are coming for my show, right? But the way they're doing it at this bar, they're like, we're going to have a comedy show, and then we're going to have an after party. It's going to keep going. So during my show, first of all, they keep bringing me double Don Julios. I'm getting more and more drunk as the night goes on. Halfway through the show, I realize there's this group of girls that keep talking on the right.
No matter where you are, there's a group of girls who keeps talking.
Dude, and
even
I'm
in a place where they're not allowed to talk, they're still talking.
Even in a fucking place they're not allowed to drive, they're talking.
Yeah, but no, this is Beirut, so they're allowed to talk and drive and fuck with you. So they're sitting there talking, and I'm like, what's going on? And it's a bachorette party.
Oh my God!
They have bachelorette parties over there,
dude. Beirut, I'm telling you, Beirut.
Do they have little dicks on their heads?
Dicks on the heads. I'm not kidding. I'm serious.
Wait, are they little white dicks, and black dicks, or just all tan dicks?
Whatever you want. No, I'm serious. Listen, man. First of all, Beirut. I'm telling you, the nightlife in Beirut.
Go to fucking Beirut,
dude. You got, and the food's amazing. It's amazing. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh my God, and I'm like, excuse me. I go, guys, girl, hey, ladies, there's a show going on. So they're stage right. Rest of the crowd's totally listening. Hey, there's a show, comedy show, whatever. Talk to the bachelorette, do a couple of jokes, and you know how it is when you hit a drunk person. If they're not too drunk, they quiet down and the show goes on.
Yeah.
When you got a group of really drunk people, they keep coming.
Yeah.
They keep coming. They keep coming. They keep coming. Finally, I'm like, oh my God. At one point, they have these 2 guys that are been taking pictures of them and stuff, and I don't know who they were, but maybe they're like party starters or something. They're there with the girls.
Yeah.
Darren Carter
party
starters.
One of the guys comes over, and I realize now that these guys, because the guy comes over and he's like, and he doesn't speak English that well. Everyone else in the club speaks it because they're there to see a comedy show. This guy, he's like, how much longer you do? I go, they hired me, the club. I go, did you know there's a comedy? He's like, no, it's a bachelorette party. I'm like, hey, management. I'm like, did anyone tell these guys there's a comedy show? Later on, I talked to the manager. I go, what the fuck? He's like, I had a table of 30. I had to take it, I was like.
I had a table of 30.
Yeah, still. It's like.
Yeah. So, and then the fucking dude's like, so the dude has no idea what I'm doing. He's like, are you going to sing? This guy who's asking me. He's like, he thinks I'm a fucking entertainer. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna sing. He's like, well then hurry up. I'm like, fuck you. And I
said that to him?
Yeah, I'm like, fuck you. I get pissed at this was the best part of it. So he's like, the guy was like eating some like he had like a bowl of like fucking. Nuts and pistachios, and he's like fucking cocky eating right there. I'm like, what the fuck are you eating right there? He's like, whatever, fucking, it's nuts. I go, give me one of those fucking things. I go, throw it in the air. The dude throws it in the air in front of 200 people like a fucking seal. I just grab it in the air with my mouth. Just fucking took it in. I'm like, yeah! The place goes crazy because I got the fucking thing. I'm like, now sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up. And they go back and I finish my set. I get off stage. I go to the man. What the fuck were you thinking of the manager? Manager's like, oh, I'm sorry, man. But it was like, but talking about like fucking, these people were there to see me and still, because the problem is, sometimes, first of all, you have no idea who's buying tickets, number one. Yeah. Secondly, management sometimes is more retarded than you think.
Oh, God.
Like, why would you put on a comedy show and not tell these people, hey, bachelorette party, why don't you guys come at 11 when it turns into a club, as opposed to 8:30 when it's a fucking comedy show?
I did a show which was a Middle Eastern show at the Improv, and this was like, there was only 20 people in the crowd until a bus of special people pull in, and they pack the room with special people. It's a room full of all special people. Comics are going up and just eating it, getting off stage going, dude, they're heckling, and they like dick jokes, bro. I'm like, this is perfect. Literally a room full of special people. I go up, and they're just, I'm not lying to you. I'm not lying when I tell you these special people are drinking. They're doing shots. Oh. They got beers. I just start racking on there because they had a really hot, like, counselor or something with them, and I started talking about which one of you guys want to bone their counselor. Place goes fucking nuts, dude. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if a group of people, I don't care who it is, Nazi youth will buy like 50 seats. Yeah. The comedy club will put them in the show.
You're right. I worked at the Improv the day after the first show after 9/11, and I was the first comic. I was hosting first comic to go up when they open the doors, walk in, and it has been rented out by a Middle Eastern family. Oh, they've got.
Oh my God!
The place is packed. It's all Middle Eastern people in the middle, and then they let other people come in too. And so there's white people, and I'm the first person on stage, and I have no idea how to handle it. I was like, all right, okay, I guess I'll stay away from the obvious, you could tell these guys didn't want any jokes to be made. That it was the most uncomfortable. I just fucking bombed. I did my act and fucking bombed.
Yeah, that was a weird time.
No, that
was the first time the Comedy Store's ever been closed.
Yeah, it was closed. You know what's crazy about what all this stuff about the hecklers and stuff. Like I imagine what you were saying. I imagine like Jerry Seinfeld probably does not get a heckler. I imagine.
If you watch his movie, he does get hecklers. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
Especially chicks. There is a chick who will heckle you. I think I have this theory that guys understand social hierarchy.
It's because we've been beaten up. I think guys understand that I don't want to get into a physical confrontation. Women have no problem.
Yeah.
No problem just chirping in, I don't think you're funny. And you're like, because they know all you can do is go back at them and make fun of them. And then if you take it too far, then but
even women also have this ability to move up socially without really even doing anything. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's this weird thing. Like, if you're a really hot chick,
Kim
you
Kardashian.
come from the poorest place in the world, meet this really rich guy, and all of a sudden you're high society.
Yeah.
Whereas a guy, most likely, you're going to have to, unless you're born into it, you're going to have to work your way up through everything. And like, there's a chick who looks great in jeans.
Kobe's wife.
100%. A girl who looks great in jeans who turned down Bono, the greatest rock star in the world. He threw a little heat at her. He's like, she's like, I'm not into that. You know what I'm saying? Like, the greatest rock star on the planet got shot down by some chick who just looks great in jeans.
Yeah.
It's like she doesn't, there's no...
But there may also be part of this, like, we all know women talk more than men.
Yes.
I mean, as we're talking for 3 hours on this. But we all know, like, in general, women like to talk. So it also might be like, if you're at a comedy show and a dude sees the guy, and a dude might be like, you know what, man, 15 more minutes of this shit, and I get out of here. Or let me go get a drink at the bar. I don't need to watch this crap. I've had people, front row. I look at their face. They obviously don't like me.
That's the worst,
yeah.
man.
That's worse than heckling when you just see someone just hate you.
No, but you know what?
Focus on that.
Because you can't get them kicked out. But not enjoying themselves.
But I look away and I let them get up and the past weekend, a couple guys, they kept getting up. And part of it is like, I don't know if this guy's drunk. I don't know if he doesn't. He doesn't have to like my stuff.
Yeah.
So I think guys might just sit there and do that. Whereas a woman maybe feels like I should express my opinion about this. Like I didn't ask for your opinion, but the woman maybe feels like there's like a thing in a woman that's like a button pushing them, like talk, just talk.
It should be noted, by the way, that my fucking yard guy hasn't come to our house in 3 fucking weeks, and he shows up today. I'm so fucking angry at this guy.
Hilarious.
He literally has missed because he shows up on Tuesdays, and so every holiday has been a Tuesday.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, fucking
hilarious.
Off. What were we gonna say?
I love women. I mean, obviously, I don't want this to be like I'm bashing women, but women also have this interesting thing where, like, I saw this with Rogan all the time, where like girls would heckle him because they were attracted to him,
Sure.
and they wanted like it was almost that like schoolgirl mentality where like I pull your hair but because I think you're cute.
Yeah.
And that's women also want to engage you because they're really attracted to you, and that's how they're kind of used to engaging someone they're attracted to.
But you know what? Let's say this too. The hecklers 99% of the time are drunk.
Yes.
Very rarely do you have a sober heckler.
Yeah.
99% of the time they're drunk. And a lot of the time, like, obviously the drunk dude is just an asshole. And it's great to rip into that guy. Like, shut the fuck. And then the drunk, because we all know, like, alcohol, obviously, women probably have less of a tolerance. I've had so many, like, white women drinking wine and just getting all, like, and just saying random shit. One time this lady in Houston, 400, like, I don't know how big that Houston Improv is. It was a great night. Audience is loving it. This lady sitting in the front with this dude. They look really classy. The guy was dressed nicely, like some Italian dude or something, probably in their 50s, older. That's when it's like heartbreaking because I'm like, you're supposed to be like an esteemed member of society. Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Not a fucking piece of trash. And the lady in the middle of my whole thing, and like I'm killing, it's going great. Audience is with me, fantastic, doing some crowd work, and then suddenly there's a minute while I'm. 2 seconds while I'm grabbing a drink of water, and she's going, so where are you from? And I go, excuse me? She goes, where are you from? And I go, oh, I try to make fun of it. And I'm like, oh, I've had fun. I'm like, I'm actually, I came out. I said, I live in L.A., but I'm originally from Iran. And she's like, no, but you know what I mean. I go, no, I don't. I don't know what you mean. And she keeps going. And then the crowd is laughing. And now I start going like, I could rip into her and be mean, but I could tell that the husband, whoever he is, kind of like distancing. And I'm like, hello, sir. I go, you got to deal with that. I understand. I go, it's okay.
Yeah.
I have some fun with that. Crowd laughs, and she keeps talking. And I'm like, oh, shit, this lady's. And I felt so bad. Like, I kind of talked to them a little bit. She quieted down for a minute. And then, and the best part for me was I kept going, and they were towards the front. And it kept going, and at some point I could tell she's gone. She's barely sitting up,
Yeah.
And that's the alcohol intake level. She can't handle the alcohol. And this is like 10 minutes into the show. So I don't know what kind of dinner they had or how much wine she had, but she's just like, and I could tell the guy's kind of like looking around, and she's fiddling around. And I'm like, man, she gets up, and I'm like, okay, they're leaving. They get up, they leave. And I'm like, you want to go at them, but you're having a good enough set, and you don't want. So once they left, I did like one more joke, and then I stopped the whole show, and I was like, "What the fuck was that?" And the crowd just starts erupting, and then I started ripping into her in a way that like it felt good to. I had to like vent, you know what I'm saying? And the crowd loved that I was venting.
Yeah, and there's a fine line there too, because if you go too far, they can get angry.
Roy Johnson was featuring for me in Atlanta, and he was not having a good set or whatever, and he did not like the lady in the front row. He's featuring, I'll never forget this. And I'm about to go on stage, and I just hear this fucking tirade, just and then you're a fucking white trash piece of shit with a goddamn phone on your ear, like you're important. Lady, you're a fucking cunt. And then he gets off stage. And I go, what was happening? And he goes, oh, it's fine. I took care of it. I walk outside. I walk up on stage, and the girl's crying. And I go, and she goes, you're an asshole. I go, I haven't done anything. I haven't said anything.
That's the worst.
She goes, well, that guy before you. And I was like, and their whole table left. I go, well, you can't fucking feature and drop a C-bomb.
Yeah, it's about setting you up. I've been heckled by the La Jolla City Council. This woman who was on the La Jolla City Council was shit-faced, heckled the crap out of me. I wish I got on tape because it was textbook destroying a heckler. I engage her, I rip her, then I turn the whole crowd against her.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I get off stage. Brett Ernst is like, dude, watch out. They're with guys and they're not too happy.
Oh, fuck.
So I'm sitting in the back. I'm sitting with all the staff. We're hanging out. And this guy walks up to me. He's a little drunk, and he starts walking towards me. And like a naive idiot, I'm like, he's going to come up and apologize to me for them being crazy.
Oh, no.
He walks up to me, and he just goes, whack, and smacks the shit out of me. And like, it didn't hurt. I was stunned.
Yeah.
I'm like, you just hit me, dude. Like, I was like, it froze. And all of a sudden, every employee who's ever worked there in the history of the La Jolla Comedy Store comes out of the woodwork, and we start thumping this dude.
Oh.
And I'm not really a fighter, but I was laying the wood on this guy. She's like, I'm on the La Jolla City Council. I'm like, you should have gotten rid of this guy. It was hilarious because they were trying to pull him out of the place, but one of the doors had been locked in, so he had one leg on one side of the door, another leg on the other side of the door, and they couldn't pull him out as the staff is beating the crap out of him.
Oh, my God.
You know, it's embarrassing because you were saying this lady's a member of the city council. Because, you know, everybody knows this lady's got an alcohol problem.
Yeah.
And they probably run into this shit all the time.
Yeah, and what bothers me is that when a heckler comes at me and I go at them back, I think they should understand that that's part of this job, that what is happening is this is part of the job, and they should not bleed into physical confrontations after the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. I've had people throw stuff at me.
I saw Rich Voss I think it was Rich Voss get hit by an ashtray. I got the bet. You want to hear the craziest one? I was watching Chappelle when I used to work at the Boston. I used to work that Boston Comedy Club. I used to work the door. I'd be like barking, bringing people. Chappelle comes in one night and he's fucking blitzed. He's drunk. He's high, and he's just riffing and he's smoking cigarettes on stage. That's how long ago this was. He's smoking cigarettes and he's saying how they market. It's menthol, and he's like, they market it to black people. He's like, they market these things to kill black people, and they make it like it's minty. He goes, I wouldn't be surprised if they made like watermelon cigarettes or fried chicken cigarettes to market it to black people, and it gets a laugh. It's a lot of white people in the room, and there's 3 frat boys up front, and they laugh, and he keeps going, and then he goes to get another cigarette, and he's out, and he sees the guy in the front, and he has a cigarette, and he goes, hey man, can I get a cigarette from you? And the guy goes, yeah, it's fried chicken flavored. And Dave goes, what the fuck did you just say? He goes, it's fried chicken flavored. And
It's like, you said the joke earlier, dude.
And Dave forgot he told the joke. He goes, you telling a black man it's fried chicken flavored? And the guy goes, yeah, kind of. Yeah. Or watermelon? And Dave goes, fucking watermelon? He totally forgot he told the joke. And he fucking jumps into the crowd and starts fighting this guy.
Hilarious.
Fucking everyone. And like Godfrey was there, and Godfrey, he didn't hear the joke. He just heard the guy go, it's fried chicken flavored.
Oh,
I heard the whole
poor
thing.
guy.
A fucking fight breaks out, show's over. And I'm like, I remember I was talking to Tony Woods. He was like, is he really blowing right at my goddamn door? and he was like, Dave's like, that's fucked up. I go, no, it's Dave's joke. Dave told it. It was so fucking funny. But
Hilarious.
Yeah, I almost got beat up this weekend. So
It happens, man. I don't understand it because all you want to do is, like, I've been blessed comedically that right now I think people are catching up with my comedy. There used to be a weird moment where I was a little too much for them, but now they're kind of catching up. But it used to be like where I would walk up on stage and just the room would ice. And I would be like, what's going on? Like, you were just going crazy. I literally walked up and you all got like so quiet. What is going on here, man? And I would start doing my act and I would just start crushing. And people would come up to me after going, oh man, I didn't want to like you when you walked up on stage. I'm like, Why?
Weird.
Like you.
What?
That's a good thing to have in show business. The kind of face where people automatically don't want to like
Well,
you.
I think that's half the reason why everything's such a struggle for me is because I have this like instant like vibe on stage. But I'm like, why don't you want to like me when I walk in? Like I didn't walk up with like puppy blood on my hands. I'm at a comedy club. I've been hired to do comedy. You should like me when I walk up. I've literally been told that. I'm not just
I
once
didn't
like,
want to like you when I saw you. That is so fucking hard to do stand up.
yeah, that's all the time I walk up to that, and I have to address it because I know when it happens. Someone will kill, and I walk up, and just you feel like crystallization going over the stage.
I get the exact opposite. I always feel like I don't live up to their expectations. Like they like me so much, and I'm like, and they're like, I thought you were going to be better. You just look funny. You're fat.
Well, that's the problem. If you're known, like if people come to you because they've seen, like that was the whole thing with Michael Richards. People, they'd be like, ladies and gentlemen, like when he started trying to do stand up at the Comedy Store,
Man.
they're like, you know him as Kramer. Give him,
people.
and they're going,
I was
"Oh my
excited.
God,
I was
it's
excited the
Kramer!"
first time I saw
And then
him.
they go up there and be like, yeah, do a couple prop, and like 2 minutes of laughter, and then they'd be like,
That's it.
that's it. What else?
I've been
Yeah.
let down by a lot of guys. Like I like get excited to see them, and then they're like, that wasn't what I thought it would be. I thought that
Can
would
you
be
watch comedy? It's really hard for me to
haven't
watch
watched it in a
comedy
while.
now, unless it's like somebody where someone's like, "Oh, this guy's a really funny guy," or a good friend of mine. I'll watch what he's working on, but
Yeah, I do the latter.
really
Yeah.
hard for me to watch comedy. One person I think is, I was just thinking the other day about how I think he might be the overall. If you take all aspects of comedy, stand up, comedic acting, sketch writing, he may be the closest thing to the total package, and that's Nick Kroll. Have you ever watched him live?
Let me tell you what else. What else is fucking really great about Nick Kroll? And I say this: he does something that not a lot of people do that more people should do. He compliments people and is really friendly.
Nick Kroll is the funny.
He came up to me one night and he said, "I think you're really funny." I was like, "Oh, thanks, man." I don't think he was even like big yet. I was like, "Thanks." He goes, "Yeah, me and my friends, we think you're really funny. We like watching you do stand up." I was like, "Oh, thanks, man." And I met him and I remembered his name, and then I saw him on a couple things, and I was like, "Oh, that guy's fucking nice as shit." You did the same thing to me. I said that one time to some guys doing the Ice House thing. They're like, "Do you know Tripoli?" And I was like, "Yeah." You came up. We did that Louis Anderson funny National Lampoon's thing. And
again, a show I do with a bunch of millionaires.
who was on? Who's your
You,
friend?
Byrne.
You were with somebody.
It was
Like-
me, Steve Burns.
Yeah,
Was
Lonnie
Brian
Love.
Holtzman on that show?
I don't know
Joey Diaz was there.
what.
Yeah, he was in on it. He was on, I think, another show though.
But you came up to me. You're like, hey, and I remember I had to follow you, and Byrne was like, "Oh, Tripoli's a murderer," and I was like nervous as shit. And you came up, and you're like, "Hey, are you gonna do your touching the cops' faces bit?" I think that's what it was, or maybe it was like my dating some bit. And I was like, I don't know. And you're like, "It's really funny. Me and my friend, it's like our favorite bit. Might have been my carrot cucumber. Or
I
something.
remember seeing you in the main room doing that joke,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wow, this guy's a bad motherfucker.
And I was like, no. And I got really excited. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing it. And you're like, I'm Sam. And then I was like, oh, how fucking cool. I don't have to hate the guy. I can like him, hope he does well, and hope I can follow it.
Yeah.
And then you went up and you did the fucking, my favorite joke where the girl playing basketball. And you like, now I
and I
know what
lay
the
her
brothers feel like. She goes up for a layup, and I ring her bell. Just ting! And you knock the mic stand over, and I was floored.
I
was
did
like,
that on Craig. Who's the first one? Not Craig Ferguson. Craig Kilborn.
Quick,
Yeah.
Kilborn.
No, I did that.
Whatever
'cause-
happened to him?
I don't know, man.
Oh, I know what happened to him. His brother invested all his money, and he's a multimillionaire.
What?
Yes, his brother took all his money he made. His brother was like some badass fucking hedge fund dude, and invested all his money, and he is a gazillionaire.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's a gazillionaire.
Yeah.
Sorry, but you did that on.
No. I did it on his show because I knew he loved basketball. I did a whole set for him.
Oh.
And it crushed. But I remember all my friends came to the bar to watch my first national television spot. And when I did that, the whole room just froze. Like, did you just beat a chick up on national television?
I ring her bell.
Boom!
All right. So you guys think we covered all the subjects?
Yeah, man. I love this. It was a lot of fun, man.
What's your what do you do? You do like a 2 hour thing, or you do like you just go till you go?
Go till everyone
till it
goes.
goes.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
all right. We covered all the bases.
Yeah, that was
I think we
fun,
did.
man.
I don't think I got to make sure I say who's on the show. I might not saying he was on the show. It just
Hilarious.
let it play.
I was like, he didn't introduce us. We're just going.
I have no. You know what? I said to someone. I don't need to talk about this, but I said I just wanted it to be fun. That's why I don't have sponsors either. Because if I have sponsors, then I feel like I have to fucking.
Yeah.
Why? You know, like
Right.
I just figure I'll just do this.
I make
Brought
money
to
off
you
of
by your
sponsors.
gardener,
Yeah.
your leaf blower.
That's how I've been doing it.
I need to get someone to run the fucking board to make sure it sounds right. Halfway through this thing, I was like, I think we're blowing out all the levels.
Well, if
and
you
then a
need
fucking
somebody-
yard man comes by.
I know somebody who's really good at it.
Really?
If you need somebody, my friend Renee, yeah.
Do you guys want to plug anything? This will air next week.
I got. I'm at the San Jose Improv next
Nice.
week. Next
I'll be
week.
on.
Are you really?
Yeah.
I'll be
I
at
love that
Whitney's
room.
new talk show. I'll be on it.
Who's
15th,
Whitney's?
Whitney Cummings.
Oh, you do it?
Really?
Yeah. You
Oh,
know what?
that's
You know what's so funny about what you were saying about being nice to people?
Yeah.
When I first moved to LA, I realized that there was a lot of the upper guys were really mean to the lower guys because they didn't have the credits.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I'm never going to do that ever to anybody. So I always was like, anybody I see doing comedy, I'm the nice people. And literally, my career's gone up and down, but the reason it mostly, when it comes back up, is because all the guys who are coming up,
Dude.
I treat like gold.
Yeah.
Not that like, oh, they're going to help me, but I just treat like them like gold. They all come back.
Well, there's no reason not to, just as a human being. It's like I don't get that mentality. I think the problem is a lot of comedians have a lot of, as we all know, like a lot of psychological problems, and they're not good being like they're antisocial.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I remember when I started, I remember watching some people, like, were going on tour together. I forget who it was, and I started with Dimitri Martin. And I was like, and I remember thinking, Dimitri is so talented. I'm like, I'm going to be nice as fuck to him, and hopefully when he's famous, he'll put me on something. No, never. But
funny.
not that my stand-up's
Sometimes it
very
happens.
different than his, but
Yeah.
but I really haven't had. I don't think I've had. I've just been nice to people, but I don't think it's ever benefited me yet. It'll
But
benefit
you know
me
what?
soon.
But you know what? It comes. Listen, man. It's not even like you said.
It's
it's
not-
not-
well, I don't do it to be like, oh, man, hook me up.
No,
Yeah.
first of all, it's like it's a reflection of just your mentality. If you're a good person, you're a good person. Number one. Number two, you never know what's going to come around.
That's
how,
the whole thing.
Where,
Yeah,
when. And there's no-
hopefully this will turn into a Beirut tour.
Yeah.
I'm fucking all
do
about
it.
it.
All right,
Take your
here's my
shirt
last
off,
thing
Bert.
I want. Here's the last thing. I'm going to be on Whitney, Love You Mean It, on the 15th. And then January 31st, I'm doing the first ever gay naughty show. It's a gay-themed naughty show.
I gotta come to a
by
naughty
FleshJack is sponsoring it, fleshjack.com. Check that out. And I'll be at the AVNs. I wrote all the sketches for the AVNs
January
this year. So.
26th, my special comes out on Showtime. I Come in Peace.
Oh, cool, dude. And I'm very excited you're on.
It's called I Come in Peace.
Hey, Bert, thank you so
are
much
you
for having me on.
hosting the AVNs?
No, this
I never get a chance to see you enough.
I
And
never get to see anybody. This is the only time I get to hang out with people is if I podcast it.
and I'd love to do it anytime. And any Monday you're in town, both of you guys should come on my Naughty Show podcast.
Awesome.
Would love to. Monday. Done.
All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. This episode was brought to you by The Machine.